Hello, all you super intuitive and highly sensitive people. Today's topic is your nervous system. So, your nervous system is a really amazing. I'll bet you didn't know that you had 90,000 miles of nerves in your body. And there's 3 different kinds of nerves and 3 separate nervous systems within your body. And I'll be talking about that, how to make them work for you instead of against you, and how to get you feeling better with your nervous system and make sure that it is functioning until your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. So stay tuned to hear more. This is Anastasia. I used to be a physics professor specializing in vibrational and quantum physics. After recovering from a serious illness using energy healing on myself, the calling to heal became so strong that I had to quit my 40-year research career. I replaced my 6-figure professor salary within 5 months using a simple but not easy 3-step system that I worked out to grow my healing practice. Now I help other healers grow their practices, whether they're just starting or already have a practice, with this same 3-step system. I'm all about helping you too. Listen in to learn more. Thank you so much for coming back, and today's topic is your nervous system. So your nervous system includes your brain and all of the nerves throughout your whole body, but it is your sensory input from the outside world. You see with it, you smell with it, you hear with it, you touch with it, and you taste with it. And it is an important interaction between you and the outside world, right? And when you have a loss of that, then you can end up in trouble. And I'll give you a simple example. When my mom had brain surgery when she was 37, some of the nerves down to her arms, because it was in her neck, down her arms were severed, and she lost the function of these 2 fingers, the ring and pinky finger on both hands, and lost all hot-cold sensation in her hands. She could still feel the heat on her face and on the rest of her body, but loss in her hands. So she didn't know if something was hot, and she would pick it up and it would still burn her skin and it would blister. And then she didn't feel when it got infected. And so she had to learn how to cope with testing whether something was too hot to the touch, or pick everything up with mitts, whether it was hot or cold. Right? So it's dangerous because those infections are really dangerous. And when my dad saw that, he would start crying because he felt her pain, but she didn't feel any pain, right? So that's why it can be dangerous. You really need all your senses, your touch, your vision. And there are people that can't hear, and there are people that can't see, and there are a few that can't do both. And so, fortunately, they have learned how to cope in a seeing and hearing world. But it's not easy, right? So, let's talk about your nervous system and those 90,000 miles of nerves. So, when your nervous system is in the parasympathetic state, that means that everything is calm, right? That your adrenal glands have not injected you with cortisol and adrenaline to get it going. The adrenals are calmed down and you're in the parasympathetic state. That means that your heart rate is lower, your blood pressure is lower, your stress is lower, and your body is in a repair state. If you're in the sympathetic nervous system, that means that you are reacting to stimuli in a stressed way, and your blood pressure is high, your stress is high, you are being pumped full of cortisol and adrenaline, and your body is in teardown mode as it seeks to survive. So that's the fight or flight kind of situation. There are other things that are even a little more subtle than that, and nerve damage can happen because of a lack of the nutrients, and it can also happen because of an excess of sugar. So if you are diabetic, especially if you are a type 1 diabetic and have had it since early on in your life, you know the problem that you end up with a neuropathy because the nerves are dying off. And you want to regulate your blood sugar because too much blood sugar is very dangerous. You want to make sure that your blood sugar is regulated and that it's taken care of, because you do not want those nerves destroyed because it's painful, right? So let me talk a little bit more about your nervous system. You know, I mentioned all the things that are going on about it. It is fed by 5 different chakras, or 5 different energy portals in your body. So what happens is, like the throat and the third eye and the crown and the solar plexus and the root, those are the ones that are feeding it, are actually energy receptors. And you can also project energy out from them, but they're energy receptors. They have an opening where there are actually a lot of receptors in your body, like glucagon receptors, insulin receptors, and things like endorphin receptors. They are centered in these areas, right, on your acupuncture points, but more so on what we call chakras, because there's an energy exchange happening with the outside world at those points. And we know these because you can actually measure them outside. You can actually see them happening, right, by various tricks, either using a pendulum or some sort of photography. And they need to, when you are in a stressed state, they will close down and not accept more energy into your body. So getting relaxed is really important to opening them up. So let me talk about the various portals, and then we'll talk about how you can open them up to help feed your nervous system. So the first is the root. The root is the place that you sit on. It's in your perineum. It points downward, and it feeds all the systems in your body, including your nervous system. It is your survival portal. It is where you can invite wealth in. It is your connection to your tribe, and your tribe is important to your survival, right? So it detects your environment at all levels, your root, because that's important to your survival. So let's just talk about some of the others. The crown points upward. It is the connection to your divine, but it's associated with all organs, including your brain and the pituitary gland. And these are all helpful in regulating the nervous system. The pituitary is important for getting your adrenals firing or not, right? You have what they call the HPA axis, the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal axis. And that's the process by which the adrenals know when to fire and when not to fire. And next is your third eye. So the third eye is here, right between your eyebrows, about halfway up. There's a slight indentation. There's actually a visual sensory organ there. It can detect light. You have one also in the back of your head. So when people say you have eyes in the back of your head, they're not kidding, right? And what it does is it detects light. And it represents your intuition, your visualization, imagination, and reasoning. And it feeds your brain, your eyes, your ears, your nose, and your pineal gland. Right? Let's talk about your throat. right? Your throat is for verbal expression and communication, and it feeds your thyroid, neck, vertebrae, the trachea, which is important for communication, throat, mouth, teeth, and gums, right? So if it's in your mouth, you have taste in there. And your solar plexus is right at the bottom of your sternum, right where your rib cage and your basically your abdominals meet. It governs your oomph, controls whether you are in that parasympathetic or sympathetic nervous system via the adrenal glands, and it governs the enteric system. So the enteric system is your whole digestive system, and it is on a separate nervous system, right? So you have the central nervous system, which is your brain and your spine. You have your peripheral nerves, and you have your enteric system. So those are the three nervous systems that really help take care of things. So I want to give you a couple of tricks, right? So the first is to slow your breathing down. Remember, there's a two-way conversation between what's happening in your body and what your body is doing, right? Happening in your body in terms of hormones secreted and biochemistry and all that, and what you're doing. So when you put a smile on your face, you are decreasing the stress hormones. When you are standing up straight, pulling your shoulders back, and taking some nice, deep, relaxing breaths, you are calming your nervous system, right? And as you calm your nervous system, you're decreasing that stress. So take a nice deep breath and release it. I already feel like stress has dropped off my shoulders, and I'm standing up while I'm speaking to you. And so this helps your body calm down at all levels, right? So that's the first thing, is calm it down, move from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic state or nervous system. And second is keep your blood sugar stable. That means avoid eating only carbs or only sweets alone. Make sure that you get some fat and protein with it, or make sure you get a lot of fiber with it. And eat at least 3, if not 4, separate meals a day, or 3 meals and a good snack. And in each of those meals, you should have some protein source, whether it's beans or vegetable protein, or eggs, or some kind of fish, or some kind of animal, right? And make sure that it's fresh. None of that pickled meat kind of stuff, right? So making sure that it's fresh, and making sure that you're getting 3 to 4 meals a day. So what does that do? That helps stabilize your blood sugar throughout the day. Stabilizing your blood sugar throughout the day helps prevent high cholesterol. It helps prevent heart disease. It helps prevent stress disease, and it helps prevent nerve damage from too much blood sugar. Because if you eat too much, like some people just eat 1 meal a day, so they have an abysmal blood sugar throughout the day, and then they eat 1,000 calories in a sitting, and now they have way too much blood sugar, and then it crashes. So you want to eat smaller meals, 500 calories or less. If you're a guy that works out a lot, you can eat 6 meals or 7 meals of 250 to 500 calories, depending on your caloric needs. Some people eat and graze constantly through the day. That works too, because it keeps your blood sugar really stable. There are lots and lots of studies that show that keeping your blood sugar stable can do you a whole lot of good, and it really helps your nerves stay in good shape. Okay, I hope that was helpful today. And oh, one last thing about keeping all of your energy portals open. You can do this with your mind when you sit quietly while you meditate or while you're just deep breathing. Just imagine that everything is opening up like the iris of an eye and letting warmth and light in, right? You can do your joints, the palms of your hands, the soles of your feet, your joints, and then all of the portals or chakras aligned along the medial line of your body, and include your spleen, which governs your anxiety. So when you take a deep breath, imagine everything opening up and letting in the light, release, and then again take a deep breath. You can even say to yourself, like I say to myself, is I'm totally receptive, right? And you're letting the healing light in your body to energize everything. Okay, I hope that was helpful. So just to recap, I covered a little bit about your nervous system, that it's fed by 5 different portals or chakras, and that that neuropathy is a danger because a lot of people have diabetes and are in trouble, especially as they age. To relax and get into the parasympathetic state, number 1. Number 2, eat many small meals a day to keep your blood sugar regulated. And 3rd, imagine that your energy portals or chakras are opening up while you take a nice deep breath and relax and allow the healing light to come in. I hope that was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for taking valuable time out of your day to listen in. If you found this message helpful, please help spread the word by giving the broadcast a thumbs up or a 5-star rating. Share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to my channel with your notifications on. For further training on healing and growing your healing business using my 3-step system, go to www.highpaidhealers.com. And I'll see you in the next video.